My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of One Hide Fight. And this will be a spoiler-filled review, so if you haven't seen it, go and watch it, then come back and watch my review because I will be going in depth. Now, this is a movie that I've heard some great things about, and I've heard some terrible things about. I didn't know what to expect when I started watching it, and it ended up being a serviceable thriller. It is nothing special, but for an hour and 46 minutes, it was entertaining enough. Let's begin talking about the cast, first with Isabel May, who I thought was really good in this movie actually. I thought she carried this movie incredibly well, and she was able to come across as a tough badass without it ever feeling forced, so I was really impressed by her performance. If this wasn't a Daily Wire movie, I could see her career taking off after it. Then you've got Radha Mitchell and Thomas Jane, who are in this movie. They didn't really have a ton to do, but they're not bad, I guess. Then you've got Ollie Charlton, who I thought was really bland in this movie. She plays the main character's best friend, and for most of the movie, he just stands there holding a phone, so yeah, I didn't really care for him, and I never really cared about their friendship. Every bit of drama we got in that felt incredibly forced. And then you've got Eli Brown, who plays the main villain of this movie, and the actor himself does a fine job. I just didn't really care about the way he was written. It feels like they were trying to have the villain come across like the Joker, and it just felt very heavy-handed. Didn't really care for it. And then you've got the other villains, played by Cyrus Arnold, who plays one named Kip, who I thought was really bad in this movie. They tried to give him some sort of an arc and a redemptive story near the end, and just none of that worked for me in any way. The whole fact that he's doing this because someone pulled his pants down in 6th grade, I mean, I guess it could happen. It just doesn't work in a narrative future for me. And then you've got Brighton Seal, who plays another one of the villains, and I thought he was just trying way too hard, trying to come across as the crazy one who hears voices. I didn't care for him at all. And then you've got Catherine Davis, who I thought was bad. She doesn't have a ton to do, and I didn't really care for her. You also got Treat Williams, who plays the sheriff. And when I was watching this movie, I'm like, who is this guy? I know him. And then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, it's the guy from Deep Rising. That's a very underrated, fun monster movie. He's fine in this movie. He's not great, but still nice to see him in something. And then I'm only mentioning this next actress because it is one of the bigger names in this movie, but Barbara Crampton's in this movie, who I love in Reanimator and From Beyond especially. And I don't know, she's in this movie. It's not a great performance. So the cast definitely has its ups and downs, but the main actress who's in most of this movie, Isabel May, is good. So the rest of the performances don't bother me as much. And I do really like the premise for this movie. It's pretty much Die Hard taking place during a school shooting. And I've seen lots of people say that it's offensive and tone deaf, and I don't really get that complaint at all. But you can definitely see just how much this movie is based off of Die Hard. Even the main idea that protocols and procedures make it easier for dangerous people to predict how you'll react in a dangerous situation is definitely there as it was in Die Hard, and I do like seeing that. I also like how this movie shows that the news and social media only hurts and people join dangerous situations, and how the villains can use that to gain the attention they desire. I do like that aspect of this movie. There was actually one line that the main character said that I thought was a great line. Well, she's talking to the bad guy, and she's basically being like, no one's going to remember you, but you know what they will remember? Me. And I actually thought, that is the best line in this movie. And as an action movie, it's entertaining enough. It doesn't got the best action sequences, but it's fast moving, it's entertaining, and that's all you need for a movie like this. I do find that you have to turn off your brain in certain moments. There are some scenes where you're just like, why didn't she attack that person? There's one scene where she's getting shot at, and she uses a locker door to stop the bullets. And maybe that's realistic. Maybe lockers do stop bullets. I'm not the locker expert here. but a part of me doesn't really buy into that. And then early on in the movie, one of the villains drops off a bomb at the front desk and just nobody sees it in the next half hour before everything goes down. Yeah, I feel like that's quite a stretch. And then also, I think the movie does something very well early on because she's hiding in the bathroom and they hear someone in the bathroom. So then she finds a way to escape through the vents. And then they check it out and he doesn't see anything. But then he sees someone who died there that we saw earlier. And I'm just like, okay, that makes sense. So they think that that person just went in there and died. Okay, so it makes sense why they didn't keep looking. But then, in like 5 minutes after that scene, almost the exact same thing happens in the kitchen. And I'm like, I feel like I just saw this. So I thought some of the writing was contrived in those moments. And I did not like the dead mom at all. Just she talks to and she sees her dead mom throughout this entire movie, and I get what they're going for, that they want us to understand the character and the pain that she's in and how that drives her in a positive way compared to the contrary for the villains. I get all that. I just think it was really terribly written and completely unneeded, if you ask me. I don't think it added anything to this movie. I will say that another thing that I didn't like about this movie is that even though I get the social media and news aspect of it, the entire live stream I thought made those ideas come across in a very heavy-handed type of way. And one last thing I'm going to say about this movie isn't so much about the movie, but it's about the subtitles. Because I watched this movie with subtitles on, and this is the worst subtitles I've ever seen for a movie. Like, there'll be a line of dialogue like, "Hello, how are you?" And I'm waiting for it to be said, and then it says it 10 seconds later. And it's just like, wow, these subtitles are terribly timed out. But look, this isn't a great movie. This isn't one of the finest action movies of the past few years. It's entertaining enough, and that's as much as you're going to get from it. I do think the main actress, Isabel May, carries this movie incredibly well. I think it's got a good premise. I think it's got some good ideas. Lots of the other stuff going on I could do without, especially the dead mom and just how poorly written the villains are. And I wish we got to know them a bit before everything goes down. But all that said, I watched it. I don't regret it. Will I ever watch it again? Probably not, so I'll go ahead and give One Hide Fight a 5 out of 10, slightly leaning towards a positive. So Daily Wire isn't off to the best start. They've got one terrible movie in Terror on the Prairie, they've got 2 Silver Bowl thrillers and One Hide Fight in Shut In, and they've got the Hyperions, which I have zero interest in, so I'm just not going to watch. So I hope they step up the game. One Hide Fight and Shut In show promise, but still lots of room for growth. But have you seen One Hide Fight? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.